A very good evening. You're watching The Burning Question and I'm Deepthi Sachdeva. For the last many days, if you remember, apart from the big Adani controversy that has now taken the entire country by storm, the other story that has been in the center of focus is the BBC documentary. This is about Narendra Modi and the 2002 Gujarat riots. Now, many have said that in spite of the fact that this documentary series is only putting out falsehoods, it is agenda-driven, people are questioning the timing. Many of you also question the funding. People have been asking from where was the BBC getting funds to spread this falsehood? Was there a propaganda in place? The answers, remember, possibly many people, like they say, are out now for all of us to decipher. Mahesh Jethmalani, for the last many days, has been on top of that story, and he alleges a clear link with China. He says that China is funding such kind of a documentary series and BBC propaganda. But is there some kind of a quid pro quo? What is the BBC up to? There is another fresh charge that has been leveled by Mahesh Jethmalani. Let's put out the entire story and then we debate.
After days of propaganda, protests and provocation, revelations are being made. The British broadcaster is in centre of entire controversy. Rajya Sabha MP and advocate Jethmalani has alleged massive China link allegations.
It's based on a 2002 inquiry report, and it comes out in 2023. What was the sudden trigger for that? Right? They've completely suppressed the fact that they receive funding, that BBC receives funding from why? A state, almost an extension of the Chinese state, right? It banned in 2 countries because they are a security risk, our Quad allies, Australia and the USA.
Stepping up the attack, Jethmalani said that the BBC is completely financially interlocked with China. He added that the documentary is nothing more than a Chinese-inspired initiative. And under serious questions are the motive, inspiration and funds of BBC behind the documentary. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
So who's funding this propaganda and why there is a direct China connection that has been brought out in public domain again and again? Let's say good evening to Karan Verma, who's an author and political analyst. Manish Barrier is also a political analyst. Ashutosh Mishra, we see him on the screens now. And Ravi Srivastava, my first question is to you. Ravi, now Mahesh Jethmalani alleges that there is a direct China link. He says that there is Chinese money in the BBC and that money is being used to create propaganda against the country. But I want to know from both you and Ashutosh that why are you falling into that propaganda? Why did you not ask about the timing of the release of this documentary series and the funding? Ravi first.
See, first of all, Jethmalani says something. What evidence he has got to say it? Today I was reading a report which clearly said, even the British government has said, that BBC is totally an independent organization which is not funded by even Britain or even the other agencies. So just putting up a charge on China that he is funding that, and China, which is the most friendly nation for India, we have got a trade deficit of around.
Ravi, why is your heart bleeding for China? It bleeds for Pakistan. It's obviously now bleeding for China. I don't want to know. I want to know why. You do not believe what the Supreme Court says. You clearly do not believe that the Supreme Court has given a clean chit to Narendra Modi, then the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat, Ravi. But today you're defending the BBC. You're saying BBC is credible. BBC, is neutral. There is no international money going into BBC. How are you sure, Ravi?
No, see, he's an independent press and India believes in a press freedom. They are banning that particular report. By banning that report, they are creating more anxiety. It should be free for all. See, internet is an open world. Anybody can access anything and watch it. So by doing a ban, unnecessarily, whole of the country is now making the show of the documentary.
And aren't you shifting the goalpost, Karan? Before I come to Ashutosh, why is Ravi now shifting the goalpost? Because the question is about this, entire China angle. So, Ravi, are you getting embarrassed? Because, obviously this is one thing that the opposition latched on to, Karan. They were on the streets. They were trying to provoke.
I'm very clear.
Yes, Karan.
Mr. Neither Mr. Modi,
you are clearly
nor
very
Mr.
ignorant,
Amit Shah,
Raviji.
nor
Let
Mr.
me now
Rajnath
give you
Singh
some facts.
ever said that China is an enemy
Now,
nation.
can you please ask him to keep quiet so that I can speak? China has
he has asked me
invested
already.
Go on, please, Karan.
$318 billion in the European Union, and they have purchased majority stakes in 360 companies as per a report by Bloomberg. And Xi Jinping, no less than Xi Jinping in 2016 said, we need to increase our media influence by percolating through different medias across the globe. And for that, he has earmarked a budget of $10 billion from 2016. So, Raviji, at least read before coming. And
Can
today,
you stop
their
it?
central TV,
Can you
their
stop it?
central TV,
This is their
CCTV, which is the
diplomacy.
China central
This is
TV,
their
that has a
diplomacy,
branch
sir.
in 40 countries.
Either you buy them
and
or they buy them.
Hawaii. Now, Raviji, when you are getting exposed, don't interject.
Why is
Please
not
get
banned in
thoroughly
India,
exposed
sir?
and
Why
learn
is
something.
still doing business in India?
Hawaii is a
not a
company
banned
which is a
organization
main
in India,
sponsor,
sir. Yes.
which is a main
Are you
sponsor
aware?
and is under investigation
Huawei
for
is
cash for
is a
propaganda with
operating
BBC.
company in India,
रवि जी आप
even
एक्सपोज हो
today.
रहे हैं तो बीच में बोल रहे हैं. रवि जी इतना मत
I'm not
घबराइए.
exposed, yaar.
Cash
You are
for
talking about
propaganda
Huawei. I
में
said Huawei is
has been
operating in
exposed.
India.
It has
It
been
is operating in
facing an
India.
inquiry.
Why don't you ban it?
No, why is he so
No,
misbehaved?
why don't you ban it?
बात सुनिए.
It is still
आपको कुछ
operating in
facts बता
India.
रहा हूँ.
Huawei.
अभी तक कह रहे थे कुछ नहीं, आप कह रहे why don't you ban it? पहले फैसला कर लीजिए.
why
आप
don't
इतने
you?
confused हैं.
They are still
पढ़े लिख
operating
के
here.
आते नहीं है. आप कभी कुछ बोलते हैं, कभी कुछ बोलते हैं.
If they are funding some illegal activity, why not to stop
BBC
it?
should of course be banned. BBC को हम कैसे
they
बैन
are-
करेंगे सर?
They
चाइना
are
उसको
very
बंद
much
कर रहा है.
welcome in India. They are doing a business here. Are they not doing a business here? Tell me.
They are funding
See, Ravi,
BBC.
Ravi,
Here we are
that
talking about
does not
funding
allow
BBC.
any entity, that Ravi does not allow any entity, to put out a false propaganda. The story is about that. So you clearly are shifting the goalpost. I want to go to quickly to Ashutosh, and then I think we'll also get Manish. We're having some trouble right now with his link. Karan, give me 30 seconds. Let's quickly go to Ashutosh and have him also on the screens. Ashutosh. So what is wrong with the opposition? Because the opposition today clearly has no narrative. The opposition clearly today does not have an agenda. So you will even latch on, Ashutosh. We don't have him on the screens yet. If we can have him on the screens, Ashutosh, you will fall for any propaganda. Ashutosh?
So let's start with what you said about the Supreme Court giving a clean chit to Narendra Modi in Gujarat riots case. What was the clean chit that was given? The clean SIT had said that there is not enough evidence to prosecute him, and the Supreme Court agreed with that. It does not mean that Narendra Modi could not have indirectly influenced those rights. Number one. Number two, coming to China's investment.
Okay. So you have a problem with also how the Supreme Court has penned down its verdict.
Here. Oh my God.
Let's talk about
Ashutosh,
the
are you
Chinese
hearing
investment in
yourself?
India. Why?
You are otherwise reasoned, Ashutosh. Are you hearing yourself? Now you will tell me what is directly, what is indirectly. I mean, come on,
Let me
Ashutosh.
finish.
This is
We all
2002.
know
The Gujarat riots of 2002.
This is 2022.
Multiple SITs, multiple investigations, a clean chit coming into the highest court of the country. But still you're not wanting to believe it. Why? Because this does not suit you. On the other side, Ashutosh, is a comparison of a false propaganda by the BBC. A documentary that has been funded by China, allegedly. But you want to latch on to that.
So if you
Ashutosh.
let me complete. Yeah. So if you let me complete, and on the other, if you know, you are talking about clearances given by Supreme Court. Supreme Court often reviews it judgment later on, and there are politicians who have been punished for what they did 3 decades ago recently. So let's not say that once the Supreme Court has given its verdict, if fresh evidence comes, it cannot have a relook. Number one. Number two, talking about Chinese investment, why
So where is the fresh evidence? No. 1 second.
in India
Ashutosh,
from Chinese companies?
Let's kill this filibuster for once and for all. Now, where is this fresh evidence that you're quoting? If you have fresh evidence, please approach the courts. Why should you be using the BBC that itself has zero credibility? There are serious charges against the BBC, Ashutosh. I mean, for God's sake, do you think this will get you votes or the opposition votes?
No. You are changing the goalpost again. if Mr. Modi thinks that there is no fresh evidence in
I am
BBC
very much on the
documentary,
topic.
and it seems-
I want you to come back on the
and it
BBC
seems-
documentary
it seems-
and the false
Yeah, we are talking
propaganda
about BBC,
only.
We are talking about BBC documentary. So if in BBC documentary there is propaganda and it's the old stuff being repeated, why cannot Mr. Modi, as in past, just say that this is false? Because he knows that it is something
that has been
which
said.
hurts him. I mean, there is a present. I mean, if you we will not talk about Vajpayee ji reminding him about Rajasthan. There is a minister in this current government who sat on a dharna. That lady sat on a dharna saying that Vajpayee ji lost 2004 elections because of Narendra Modi and Gujarat Roids. Let's talk about that. Even people in his own party don't
But
trust
for
him
how
on
long
that.
will you keep on
So to
citing
say-
2002,
so to say
which is a
that-
dead
to
issue?
say
For how
that-
long will you keep on citing this, Ashutosh and Ravi?
It's not going to be a dead issue.
Dipti, please
How can
allow
it be
me
a
an
dead issue?
uninterrupted minute. Uninterrupted 1 minute, please.
and
Are you
same
getting
thing I
votes
want.
on
I
it?
want also.
Are you
I
getting
also
votes on
want
it? Tell me,
uninterrupted.
Ashutosh. Has the opposition gotten votes? Have you been able to convince
As
people
Modi,
of your
you are
false
trying to
narrative?
say that-
The Supreme Court has
You
seen
know
through the
what the-
plot. The
you
Supreme
know
Court
what
has
the
been very
Supreme Court
clear and
said?
direct.
The point here
Karan.
is not that. The point here
Now let me
is
speak,
that
please.
why do Sanskari BJP walas get released if they were not guilty? They were guilty. They were sent to jail. So there is an involvement of BJP there. It's there in public
BJP.
domain. Why do you want to close your
No,
eyes?
one second.
The only
What is he
thing that you
talking?
are
What is
afraid
he
of-
talking?
The only thing he's afraid of, the Bilke Isbano
Please.
rapists who were released by the Gujarat government. I'm talking about them. And that's Gujarat Roids.
See?
Okay. And similarly,
That is another issue.
Please allow me.
That is
there
obviously
can
another
come
issue,
up-
Ashutosh.
There can come
That is
up-
another
Please
issue.
allow
See,
me.
because you are not able to focus
Tomorrow,
and
Narendra
justify
Modi is
why you're latching
afraid
on to a
that
false
if
propaganda
if
of the
those
BBC,
links
you will raise
come
another issue.
Forward,
Karan.
then what happens? I mean, we have cases
Now
where
let me
the
respond.
judge had to say nobody.
Ashutosh ji, please, let
Karan.
me now answer you. He has come up with a litany of blusters and lies. Let me rebut them one by one. First thing he said, Vajpayee ji said, Raj Dharam. Vajpayee ji की पूरी statement थी, Raj Dharam निभाना चाहिए और नरेंद्र भाई वही निभा रहे हैं. So that is
नहीं,
wrong.
क्योंकि नरेंद्र मोदी ने बीच में उनको टोका था. उनको नरेंद्र मोदी
अरे
ने
टोका था
था
सर.
कि हम तो
आप
निभा
मत
रहे
टोको
हैं.
ना.
उन्होंने
आप
नहीं
नरेंद्र
कहा था.
मोदी जी जैसे
नहीं,
मत बनो. आप मत टोको
mislead
सर.
मत करिए. वो सबने
मत
देखा है.
टोको.
नरेंद्र
उन्होंने
मोदी
टोक दिया, वो मान गए.
टू से कि हम क्या कर
अरे
रहे हैं.
आशुतोष, तो आप ये बात मान जाइए ना कि दिस इज ओनली योर एंटी मोदी हेट्रेड. दिस इज